Okay, 365 days of horsemanship, day 34. Yeah, a really good day today with Mia for sure. And you know, today was fine with Lawrence too. Yeah, I was a little distracted when I arrived today. But I'm really happy that I managed to kind of push past that, because I did actually have a really helpful session with both of them. Mia, I took in the arena today, as I planned, and I wasn't really sure how that was going to go. And when I went to go and get her from the field, there definitely was a lot of like ignoring going on and bracing going on. But I just kind of tried to just keep the intensity as low as I kind of could. I did up the intensity a little bit just because of time. I think time was the thing that made me feel the pressure, is that I just, like, I knew I was going to go in the arena. And so in the nicest possible way, I just wanted to like, yeah, I want to try and cause her to come with me, like, and I think since Elsa's, I think I feel more like comfortable or confident saying like, today I'm playing and I'm being dominant and that's okay. And it was like, yeah, do you know what, today you got to come with me and that's okay, and I'm not going to be mad with you, you know, like I think it's about the emotions, you know, like my emotions went up. Like, I'm not bothered about how she feels about it. I'm not bothered about whether it happens or not. I just am like where the training comes in is it's like I'm more determined that it will happen, rather than like when it's more freedom based, it's like I don't really care what happens. Whereas today it's like, no, I'm gonna find a way. Like, I'm not worried about, you know, how you feel about it is okay, we can talk about that, all that stuff. And yeah, she did come with me and it felt good. It felt like play, it felt like resistance, and it is concern, you know, but it wasn't like it felt like there was, the connection was there. So that was nice. Brought her in, brought her up, and it was actually quite a good session. I definitely felt like we're making progress with everything. Really worked on that shoulder. I think after today, I think we're ready to start working as the warm-up on like a shoulder yield, where I'm sort of like spiraling out towards the like outside of the school, where I'm almost like yielding her shoulder and like asking her to feel better about it. Definitely I've got like her eye coming quite a lot now, and just generally she doesn't feel like she's as resistant. Like I feel like she's relaxed a little bit. It's not perfect, but I think it's good enough that we could probably progress it. The trotting is still challenging in terms of the task. Like we're still not trotting, but definitely today I learned a lot of stuff, and I worked a little bit with using the curiosity, like I learned at Elsa's with the eye, to like know when to release and when to push. So it was like I'm putting the pressure on, lines coming out, and I'm like picking my energy up, I'm asking for the trot, and then I'm just waiting until her like head turns towards me, and like I get her eye. Like I'm not even looking for head, just her eye, like just that little like moment. Definitely we had a bit of a wobbly bit where she started trying to walk the other way, and in previous sessions I'd allowed this, but today I said no. And then I think from the minute I said no, it was like she started asking more and more, and then the brace started coming in, and then I was getting less and less, and her head was turned away more. And then if I pushed her hard enough, I waited for long enough, she would like annoyingly turn her head like that with the ears back, like what? And obviously I don't want to release on that either, because that's not the energy I want either. Like I don't want to like enforce this pattern of fight. So yeah, and then so in the end, what I realized was that I just needed to go where she was going to go and just keep that light pressure on, because if I create brace with her, it just causes more no. Like that's it. That's the whole thing. Like it literally just causes more no. Yeah. I definitely was thinking a bit today about how it almost feels like I'm restarting her, like she's a foal, but with all of this baggage. Yeah, which is crazy. But I also think I'm really starting to understand some key concepts, like how important it is to do this basic stuff with your horse. And people have been telling me this for years, about like, you have to get the mind. And I feel like now what I'm really doing is working on getting the mind, rather than just allowing her to be shut down all the time, is like actually waiting for her mind to be there and then be like, yeah, that's what I wanted. I just wanted you to be here. Yeah, and so that, I felt like that went well. Definitely it could have gone better, but the things that went badly I learnt from. So I'm really happy with that. And I took her over to the mounting block. And again, I kind of played with the curiosity as like a gauge for whether to slow down or speed up based on the because I did a little bit of work with the mounting block in the freedom-based training. And what we worked on was me just moving it around to different spots until she could be curious about it and then putting it down. Whereas in here, I put it where I wanted it and I just saw how she felt about it. And I think if she'd have felt anxious about it then, I would have moved it somewhere else, tried to find a good spot, but she was okay with it there. Then she looked around at me, so I thought, okay, well, if I'm thinking from a freedom-based training perspective, that's a good moment to change flow, right? Find a new position. So I found my new position, one step up, and then we were in flow. And then and then she got curious again, so I found a new position, 2 steps up. And then she started yawning while I was up there, and that was really cool. And actually what I think I should have done at that point was come back down again. I didn't. I stayed in flow, and then she went to move away, and it would have been better if I'd have moved away sooner, rather than her deciding to leave the mounting block. It would have been better if I had decided that the time was right for us to leave the mounting block. But definitely it's so easy to get into that trap of like waiting longer for the big thing. And I really, really just think finishing sooner or releasing sooner on a smaller piece of effort is so much more powerful. It's so much more effective. It's so easy to rush to the end and want to get the end result. But actually, the more I do that, especially with Mia, the problem that we have is not that I can't get on, and the problem that we have is not that we can't trot. She's perfectly capable of trotting. She's perfectly capable of being ridden. It's not about that. It's about the way she feels about it. And if I realizing this, this is not something my goals are not a task anymore. When my goals were I would like to do this pattern, it's so easy to just be well, I just do the pattern every day until we feel better about until the pattern gets good, and you can't force anyone, let alone a horse, to feel a certain way about something. You can force someone to do something. I can force Mia to do all these things, but I can't force her to feel a certain way about them. And that's definitely another thing that I really came together for me at Elsa's, that was kind of coming that way and just really solidified for me was, yeah, this I can't force her to be okay with these things. All I can do is try and notice the moments and have good timing and help her feel better about them. There's no pattern that I can do. There's no magic formula for helping her feel well. There is. The magic formula is release the pressure when she feels better, and then she associates feeling better with that release of pressure, and then she feels better about it. That's how it is. Asking the question until she feels better about the question. At some point she'll feel better enough about the question that she'll be able to answer the question, and say yes. So yeah. So that was a really good session, definitely. And then I played a little bit with Lawrence afterwards. I definitely had to slow myself down with him. I came in really excited and I had to remind myself to be really patient. And I don't feel like I had a lot of patience. I'm not sure that doing dominance work and then doing freedom-based training really works that well for me, because I'm really impatient, because I've just had bigger steps. Even though the steps with Mia, are nowhere near as big as I guess outwardly they once were when I was trying to make things happen. But definitely slowing down and going back to the freedom-based training was kind of the wrong way around for me. I think I wanted to start with that. But Lawrence was being fed when I arrived. And it's not the end of the world, it's fine. And, I think it's a good learning point for me. I should be able to slow down. It's definitely helps me with my patience. And also he was not in an ideal place today. He wasn't in a big field. I wanted to work on walking him into a focus change, but doing more supportive leadership and less flow. But he was in quite a small pen. The gate was open, but he was in this really small pen because they were grazing it. And I guess I could have walked around outside the pen. Maybe I should have done that. I don't know. I just stayed close to him and walked around. And I did get some focus changes. I had brought an orange with me, and I thought that would be a cool, like, random thing to have. And he didn't like it, but the other horse liked it. And that whole thing kind of stimulated from some focus changes that I could be in flow with, and that was kind of cool. But yeah, so it was fine. I don't know that I really feel like anything changed or got better. Maybe I could have worked on yields. I guess that would have been a good thing to do. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, see how that goes. I think it's just about, you know, coming back and trying different things. I think I don't really know what I'm going to do with Mia tomorrow. Her plats need doing, so I think it's going to depend on how my day goes tomorrow. I have exams to sit tomorrow, and I also need to do her plats. And I have a couple other things that need doing tomorrow as well, so I just need to see how much time I have, because potentially that just might need doing, and then I'll just have to do that instead of anything else. Definitely today I was like wishing that I had hours and hours up here every day. Like today was one of those days I was like so excited about, you know, where we're going to get to and just wanting to be able to put all the hours in. But I think in some ways it's a blessing to always feel like strapped for time, because I do think in some ways, as long as you don't let that like frustrate you that you're not going to get where you want to be, I think it's great because it keeps you motivated. I think, you know, when you have all the time in the world, it can be very easy to you want to do other things, whereas this is like such a precious time, and I'm like really more and more like feeling the importance of it, and how many hours I'm going to need to put in, and how I am making these changes, and how, you know, consistent I need to be, and how I want to put this extra time in. And yeah, and you know, like I played with her for half an hour today, you know, and like we didn't do much physically, but mentally we did. And I actually think in the long term, physically, I think this is probably one of the best things we could be doing, because, you know, this like tense like outward flexion that she has is really bad for her. You know, it's really bad for her body. Like you can imagine like going into exercising like that the whole time where you're like this, like you would just mess up your body, you know. And if I want her to be loose and gymnastic, like a lot of that comes, you know, from the mind, and like really having her relax in her body is what's going to be able to like help us to train her body, like relax in the mind, relax in the body, train the body. So yeah, I just need to keep consistent with it. I feel good about it. I feel like it's going to be a good outcome. I wish I could just like stop the universe and have 1,000 hours, but also I know I would get burnt out if I did that. So I just got to keep plugging on through, getting all my stuff done, so I can spend more time here with her and with Lawrence. Yeah, I really need to see some progression with Lawrence. I really need to see some window of something. And maybe that's where I need to tame my wild, as Elsa would say. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the next week or so comes along with him. At least we have something that we're doing consistently with him now. At least I have something I'm being consistent with. So we'll just see how that goes the next week. Just turn up, do the session, see what comes out of it, keep trying different things, and yeah, just see where we go, I guess.